You did everything they told you to do. You got a good education, you landed a demanding job, and you even diligently saved a piece of every single paycheck. But when you look at your bank account and then you look at the price of, well, everything, you get that sinking feeling. The feeling that you're just a hamster on a wheel, running faster and faster, but really getting nowhere. Financial freedom is starting to feel less like a goal and more like a fantasy. What if I told you that the rules you've been following are kind of perfectly designed to keep you stuck? And what if I told you there's an escape route that they conveniently forgot to teach you in school? I'm going to show you exactly why the traditional path is failing so many Canadians and how real estate is kind of your key to breaking free. Let's be honest, the classic Canadian dream feels like it's slipping through our fingers. The promise was simple: work hard, be responsible, and you'll afford a comfortable life, including your own home. For our parents' generation, that promise was pretty much reality, but today, the math just doesn't add up. There's a strange paradox happening right now. On paper, you might hear that wages have, in some recent periods, started to outpace inflation. But does it actually feel like you're getting ahead? For most people, that's a hard no. And here's the real kicker. When your wages might be inching up, the cost of the assets that actually build wealth, like homes, are on a rocket ship. Since the year 2000, average home prices in Canada have exploded, growing at almost more than double the rate of disposable income. Let that sink in. The goalpost for financial security, well, it isn't just moving, they're in a completely different stadium, or at least they feel like they are right now. We're told to save our money, and we try, but Canadian household savings rates have often been stuck in the low single digits. Saving 5% of your income is a fantastic habit, but it's kind of like bringing a squirt gun to a forest fire when you're trying to save for the down payment in the current market and landscape. This is the broken Canadian blueprint, and it's time to tear it up. So why does it feel like we're playing a rigged game? Well, because in a lot of ways we are. The biggest problem is the massive gap in our education. Is it any surprise that money is the number one source of stress for 44% of Canadians when surveys consistently show a huge majority of us feel like we learn next to nothing about managing money or credit card debt or how to get a mortgage in school? We have a course called Career and Personal Planning, and they don't teach you about your credit score. This lack of education creates a two-track financial system based on old, outdated beliefs. Track one, for most people, we're taught to trade your time for money. Work for a paycheck, save a tiny slice of it, and maybe, if you're lucky, put some into an RSP. And above all, we're taught to be absolutely terrified of large-scale debts. But we're not told to avoid things like car loans or credit card debt or line of credit debt. We look at a $500,000 mortgage, you see a $500,000 liability, but we're more than happy to pull out our credit card for something that costs $200, $250. Then there's the second track, the one the wealthy operate on. They don't just work for their money, they make their money work for them. They understand a critical secret. Not all debt is bad debt. There's bad debt like credit cards, car loans, unsecured lines of credit balances, and things along those lines. And those are generally used to buy things that depreciate in value. But then there technically is good debt, the kind you use to buy assets that grow in value and can even pay you over time. And what is the most powerful and really accessible good debt tool available? It's a mortgage. Think about it. For most people, the bank isn't just going to hand you $500,000 to go play in the stock market. But if you qualify, most of them are lined up to hand you money to get a mortgage on a piece of property. And the wealthy get this. They see a $500,000 mortgage or $1 million mortgage not as a crippling liability, but as a powerful leverage to control a million or multi-million-dollar asset that over time will likely be worth more and that can be accessed to generate even further wealth. This is the fundamental mindset shift that's kind of missing. We're taught to be savers in a system that rewards investors. We're taught to pay down debts at all cost, while the rich are using it to build dynasties. The rules you know are designed to keep you safe, but they will almost always never make you wealthy. To really change your financial life, you have to start playing by the second set of rules. Okay, so this is where it gets exciting. The solution. How does real estate actually let you break out of the hamster wheel cycle? It all comes down to 4 unique wealth generation systems that work for you pretty much all the time. First, the obvious one, appreciation. Sure, markets can go up and down, but over the long term, Canadian real estate has been a powerful upward trend. Since the 1980s, real home prices have dramatically outpaced wage growth. This isn't about trying to time the market, it's about time in the market. Your property becomes a forced savings account that grows in value while you're sleeping. Second is mortgage paydown. This is the beautiful part. Every single month, a piece of your mortgage payment slices away at the principal. If you have a tenant or a rental component, they're literally paying down your debt for you, building your equity. If you live there yourself, you're paying yourself first, building a bigger and bigger ownership stake in a valuable asset with every single payment. Third is cash flow. This is the investor's dream right here. When the rent you collect more than pays for your mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and all the other costs that come with owning that property. The money left over is positive cash flow. That's income hitting your bank account every single month without trading a huge amount of your time for it. And yes, even if you just break even, your tenant is still paying for an asset on your behalf that's building equity and should be appreciating in value. And fourth, there are major tax advantages. When you own a rental property, you can deduct a whole host of expenses, like the mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, repairs. Of course, you'll want to talk to an accountant to get the details right, but these deductions lower your taxable income, meaning you keep more of your hard-earned money away from the taxman and in your pocket. When you stack these things together, appreciation, mortgage paydown, cash flow, tax advantages, you create a powerful wealth-generating machine. You're not just saving anymore, you're using leverage to control a large appreciating asset that someone else could possibly help pay for. This is how you stop trading your time for money and start building real lasting wealth. Now, if this is starting to click and you're getting some value out of this, do me that quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel reach more Canadians that need to hear these messages, and it allows me to keep doing what I'm doing. By the way, my name's Myles Nowik of the Nowik Mortgage Team powered by Indy Mortgage. I'm a licensed mortgage professional and the owner of the Nowik Mortgage Team. We've collectively funded over $2 billion in mortgages, helping hundreds of thousands of clients across the BC region, and I'd be more than happy to help you build a plan so that you can get into real estate yourself. I can speak from experience. It's what really helped me start to generate my wealth, and if I can pass that knowledge and information on to you and help you get to the same spot, that's the dream. That's exactly what I want to do. Now, let's get back into the video. So I know exactly what some of you are probably thinking. This all sounds great, but... And then comes the list of fears. So let's bust the 3 biggest myths that keep most Canadians stuck renting and saving their way to nowhere. Myth number 1 is that a lot of people think they can't afford a down payment. And to be honest with you, this is the biggest hurdle, and it feels almost impossible when you look at house prices. But there are systems and things you can do that can really help you elevate what you're doing with your money, allowing you to save that down payment. There's even some really amazing accounts that you can utilize, such as the First Home Savings Account or RRSPs, that can allow you to have tax benefits while you save that down payment. And this really starts with a rock solid tight budget where you know what your money's doing, where it's going, and why it's going there, so that you can allocate certain funds to different things and understand, okay, if I save X amount of dollars per month, I'll have this much at the end of 12 months. And if I have that invested earning 7%, it's going to be this much. And how many years do I knock off saving that down payment if I have these funds invested? Now, I'm building a tool that can hopefully help people build out scenarios like this. It's in the works, and I'm hopefully going to have it live soon, so make sure you stay tuned. Another common misconception that I've heard is people think they need 20% down to buy. You don't. In Canada, you can often get your first home or even a second home, if you don't own one currently, for as little as 5% down on the first $500,000 and then 10% down on anything over that $500,000. Now, when we get into the $1 million price tag, things get a little different, but we'll kind of stick to where we're at with this for now. Yes, if you put less than 20% down, you have to pay mortgage loan insurance, which is an additional cost enrolled into your mortgage. But it's also the key that unlocks the door to homeownership for hundreds of thousands of people. It gets you in the game so your asset can start appreciating. You can also get creative with co-buying with family or friends, or house hacking, buying a property with a basement suite, or buying a duplex, or renting rooms out in your house and having those tenants help slash your mortgage payment down. Another myth that I've heard is that it's too risky. I'll just wait for the market to crash. Everyone loves to talk about waiting for this big crash that will magically make homes affordable. Here's the thing. People have been waiting for this crash for over 20 years. And in that time, prices have shot to the moon. Real estate has a cycle, of course, and markets cool off. But trying to perfectly time the bottom is a fool's game. Historically, the far greater risk has been waiting on the sideline while inflation and appreciation push prices even further out of reach. The old saying is absolutely true. The best time to buy real estate was 20 years ago. The second best time to buy it is now. You manage risk not by timing the market, but by buying smart and making sure you can afford your monthly payments and are ready for the purchase, and holding on to this asset for the long haul. Even when we look at investing or the stock market, yes, there are people that make lots of money off trades and they're day trading and things like this, but if you really want to generate honest, consistent wealth, the long play is always better. Real estate is the same sort of thing. You're not going to make a ton of money in a very short period of time unless you're putting a ton of work into the property yourself, but give it time and it generally will make you money. History doesn't lie. Real estate has been very successful for a lot of people. Hence why McDonald's is not necessarily a burger company, it's a real estate holding company. Myth number 3. Owning my own home is my retirement plan. This is such a dangerous and passive way to think. Just owning the house you live in isn't a wealth plan, it's a roof. Your home equity is liquid. You can't exactly swipe it at the grocery store to buy things or use it to buy plane tickets to go on a vacation. The real power comes when you learn to use your home as an active wealth building tool. This means being strategic. Once you have some equity built up, you can look into accessing it through something like a home equity line of credit or HELOC to use it for the down payment on your first rental property, or to even make investments if you wanted to. Now, this isn't a magic trick. You still have to qualify for the financing, but that's how you strategically turn one property into 2, and then to 3, and maybe to 4. Your first home shouldn't be the finish line. It's not really the start line either. It's the launch pad. All in all, let's face it, the old rules are kind of broken and don't work anymore. Working your tail off and saving pennies in a bank account that pays less than inflation is not a path to financial freedom in modern Canada. The game has changed. The cost of living and the price of wealth building assets have really detached from wages. And if you don't adapt your strategy, you're probably going to be left behind. But there's a new path forward. It's a path that means changing your entire mindset about debt, understanding the incredible power of leverage, and using the single greatest wealth building tool available to your average person, real estate. It takes education, it takes a bit of courage, and it definitely takes a plan, but it is absolutely possible. You are not destined to run on a hamster wheel forever. You can learn the new rules and start building a life of real financial choice. The first step is always education. If you're ready to stop feeling stuck and start taking control, I want you to hit that subscribe button to this channel. In my very next video, I'm going to expose how your bank is costing you thousands without you even knowing, where I'll expose some of the common mistakes people make with their biggest debt and show you how to turn your mortgage into your greatest asset. Hit subscribe, turn on that notification bell. My name is Myles Nowik of the Nowik Mortgage Team, powered by Andy Mortgage. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.